Hello YouTube, I am Pinstar. This is Strategy and Tactics for Banished, Part 5 of Ficklewood. In our last video we laid down a couple of orchards, started only one of them so we could stagger their food production in the future. We also did battle with the mighty uneducated woodcutter and finally got ourselves an educated woodcutter in place, and I did a little inspection on the town off screen and found that we had an uneducated blacksmith as well. I did battle with them and got them replaced as well, but I figured I'd do that off camera so as not to bore you with seeing the whole push and pull and what have you all over again, because yeah, once all of these uneducated people die off, we don't need to worry about that so much, at least until we invite some nomads in. If we invite some nomads in. Still on the fence about that. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Right now, however, I'm thinking we're going to just need to grab ourselves some stone. So as people just go idle and have some spare time on their hands, including our free laborer here, they're just going to be grabbing some stone because we need some stone. Whole bunch of stone. Yeah, I don't need to be building a quarry anytime soon. I was thinking about building a quarry next. No, I don't need a quarry right now. Not with this much surface stone so close by. Once I start exhausting all of this, maybe grab the stuff to here, and maybe once I exhaust the stone out to... Oh man, the stone never ends. Maybe out to here or so. Then I'll think about investing in a quarry, but that won't be for another couple of videos. Let's see here. Oh, I just noticed I haven't set my food limit. Food limit defaults to 5,000. There's really no reason for it to be anything other than 99999. It's not like you can harvest too much food. I mean, yeah, I guess it could overclog your storage barns and your markets, but that's the kind of problem you want to have. All right, so our firewood's almost recovered, thanks to the heroic efforts of our educated woodcutter. We've got our laborers going at that stone, so that's going to be shooting up pretty soon. We've got our 2 laborers here. Now, as far as what I'm going to do for their next job, now just a quick revisit here to this orchard. As I mentioned before, we only need to have one person on this orchard at the moment. While it is still in growth phase. Once it actually matures enough so that the percentage actually starts getting some yield on here, then we'll want to throw on the other 2 farmers so that they can harvest it all in time. Because that's the only real reason you're going to need 3 farmers on an orchard, is that one window where in autumn, when it comes time to harvest, it takes that many people to make sure you get them in time. Now, it was also pointed out to me that this little hub down here is a big tinder box. Everything is made of wood, and it is nowhere near a water source. So, to avoid a disaster completely crippling this area that we spent so long grooming, I think my next thing is going to be a well. Right here. And that's one of the other reasons I'm harvesting the stone. And since we have enough materials for it, I'll go ahead and increase the priority. Get those people. All right, we have enough for another thing. You know, I might let the builders build up a little bit, because really I want to get all of this stone up front. Oh, and we don't need that. We don't need that cart anymore. We can get rid of that. Goodbye. Oh, there could be still stuff there. Well, we'll mark it for removal, and they'll eventually get rid of it. All right, so that's going to safeguard that area. We might want one over here. I mean, yeah, the river's over here. That's not close enough, and yeah, let's lay down some more fire protection just so I can sleep well at night. And actually, since we're going to be using these extra people for builders at the moment, I'm going to lay down a house here so they'll have some place to live. And does that give me enough room to squeeze a well in there? Maybe, maybe. Nope, nope. Oh, another ship is at port. What have you brought me? Pecans and wheat. Not terribly much to get excited about, but I'm not going to complain. Let's see. I think we still should have a fair amount of venison. Yeah, we have plenty of venison, so we can trade away our venison for that stuff. They will always trade food for food. 222 venison. And actually, since our firewood is here, we can go ahead and tell them... Well, let's start with the venison, just so that they bring that first. Because I think firewood gets prioritized over venison in terms of what gets delivered first. And yeah, so these are all the 3-for-1 special in terms of volume, and these are also 2 more unique food types that I'll have temporarily. So yeah, just no reason not to do this. Now, when it comes to food merchants, since the only thing you can order from them is just whole food, and since we're more worried about value when it comes to trading for food, it makes absolutely no sense to ever order something specifically from a food merchant. So we're just going to let them deliver that venison. We'll trade that and then send them on our way without any orders, because that way, whatever they do happen to bring next time, it's not going to cost 25% more. Because again, we want value in our trades. Okay, so away you go. All right. So, oh yeah, can't forget about my well number 2. Oh, and that well in the middle of the market is just cosmetic. It's not going to save you from a fire, so don't count on it doing so. Many users have pointed that out on the boards, that it is not a happy thing to rely on, and have had their marketplaces consumed by fire. These guys are probably safe from fire because they're all hugging the river pretty tightly, so I'm not going to bother with the well up there. But yeah, we got that well going here. I'm going to get that well going here. Oh, and the other use of stone that I want to do is, because this is such a sort of a central bloodline between the 2 areas, I'm going to mark this stretch of road all the way to the center of the crossroads as stone. Because, I mean, look how many people are traveling up and down it. It's worth the little extra speed boost they get when you turn it into stone, just to help our travelers get to their stuff faster. So a worthy expenditure of stone. Again, there's reasons why I wanted to harvest so much of the stuff. Is I have these little utility projects that aren't actually production buildings, but are still very, very stone hungry. All right, so we got that going. We've got that going. Still probably another year or 2 on the orchard before I can turn that on. So let us turn our attention now to this forest hub, or well, what will become a forest hub. So actually, let's throw another builder in there. I'm going to wait for our surprise. Logs are low. Not surprised there. Not surprised at all. Oh, that reminds me. All right, we can keep 222 venison in there, and let's put in our 625 firewood so our woodcutters can build it back up again. So we essentially could, if we really, really, really wanted to, get 2 loads of firewood worth of stuff in any given trader, because we'll have 625 sitting in there, and then we'll let the people build up to another 700. That way you'll have, I could empty the town of firewood to get a lot of trade goods if I really, really needed it. Okay, so you guys are still getting stone. That's good. Yep, and we got our builders working on our road here, so that will make travel between our 2 central areas much faster. All right, got another laborer. Don't need so many more builders, but that's okay. Now, as far as what this this house is going to do. Yikes! Early spring. Oh, a cold snap. Okay, well, glad I'm not too heavily reliant on farming. If you ever see the ground go green and then snap back to white, that's an that's a cold snap, and that can do some pretty nasty things to your crops if you have crops in the ground. As you could see, the temperatures shoot right below 32. All right. All right. So forest hub. So what I'm going to do, let me pause it here, is I'm actually going to do the same thing I did before with our previous forest hub. We're going to center it on the gatherer's hut, although building it is, that doesn't necessarily mean we're going to build the gatherer's hut first. All right, gatherer's hut right about there. Good. Good. Yes. Yes. Maybe. Maybe a little over this way. Yeah, that's better. Okay. And we got to get our crossroads up. Just for framing purposes. And let me zoom in here. Now, instead of building a piecemeal, I'm just going to pre-build everything here, just to save myself some time. All right, so the next building that we want here, and this is going to be a little bit different here, is we want our herbalist, because our people are starting to get a little on the low side of the health, and we don't want them to get sick and start dying of that. And we want the herbalist closer to civilization, but still within our tree radius, so that works out here. And then, actually no, hang on, I've got a better idea. No, actually the herbalist sitting there is fine. All right, so then we've got ourselves the forester's hut. Oop, no, that's harvest trees. That's exactly what we don't want to do. And you got sitting there, and last but not least, we'll have ourselves a hunting lodge over here. Perfect. All right, and we will draw ourselves a. Oh yeah, that's another thing to note. And I should probably undo this for a second. If you have materials that are marked for harvest, you can't build roads over them until you unmark them. So that way, if you start seeing where our road is deciding to be stubborn and not wanting to go over that stuff, even though they're just going to clear it, that's why. It's not a glitch. All right, and yeah, move that down here. Actually, we don't need to go all the way down since we're not going to really be able to fit too much more in there. Okay, so all of you get paused because you guys need to build the requisite houses before we even think about building the structure. We're still following that rule. And actually, while I'm at it, do our other requisite things here and get ourselves the storage barn. Still a bit of a hike for that. I guess they could hike over there and deposit it there, but and then now, yeah. And stockpile 6x6. There we go. All right, and we will prioritize the stockpile, so that is completed first. That way when people start clearing everything, they will get those in place. And we can pause the barn because we don't need to build it until we start building something that's going to produce food. Okay, so that has that there. And this house is going to be built soon. So that actually means we can start by pre-building one of our houses here. Actually, why don't I just pre-build all the houses while I'm at it? The worker count still works out perfectly for these for this version 2 of the Crossroads build, mainly because the one worker from the woodcutter in the original form is replaced by a single worker in the herbalist. You do not need any more than one worker at an herbalist. No matter how dense the forest is, the herbs just don't grow nearly as quick compared to the gatherables from that the gatherer's hut goes after. So even if you have a perfectly thick forest, one herbalist will be able to get the job done. Alright, so you guys are up here. Make sure you're over there. Make sure you're down here. And then we'll have one wooden house unpaused there, but we'll pause all of the others and then just start unpausing it when we're ready to actually build them. Now, the way I like to expand into new areas is this. Step 1, build your stockpile. Because whenever you build anything else, you're probably going to be knocking stuff down, and you want a really close by place for materials to be stored. It also helps that when our people start gathering, and actually it reminds me, let me tell them to go grab this stone again, since we're not building roads over here. They'll have a super close place to put that, so they're not walking all the way back to town to deposit their stone. Alright, firewood is low, that's okay. I'm aware of that. Food is doing pretty nice though. People liking that extra food variety. With our pecans and our wheat being nibbled away at, plenty of fish, and still plenty of venison left over for people to gnaw on. So I think we're doing pretty well there. And yes, firewood is low, we get it. So anyway, so step 1, get the stockpile. Step 2, get the houses in the area. Because while they're working on building the rest of this area, they're going to be builders or laborers. And since they're going to be working here, you want them to live here so that if they need to stop and eat, stop and take a break, stop and warm up, they won't have far to travel and they can get back to working on the area. So it just helps the whole area get developed more quickly by starting with the stockpile, then building a house there, and then building the other thing. So essentially following the same guidelines that I had you do for just normal house building, but it also works doubly well when you're doing that with just more distantly located construction sites. And that could hold true for brand new city centers, is, start in that order. And you'll find yourself getting established more quickly. Okay, so that house down here should be all built. Plenty of builders there. Got that going there, got that going there. How are we doing on 6 students? Yeah, just a steady stream. And you guys are chopping away here. But our food's doing just fine. So obviously our gatherer is not in too deep of a trouble in terms of finding food to eat, even though the forest is starting to get chopped up. All right, so I think I'm actually going to pause it here. So we are working on our second hub here. Once this house gets built, which should be momentarily, actually, I will build 2 things actually. One will be our herbalist, so we can start getting a supply of herbs going. And the other one is going to be our forester's lodge to employ a single forester so they can start filling in the holes here while I have the rest of our gatherers and whatnot in place here to do that. So 1 house, 2 job slots. This house is actually going to be sitting as extra, but I have plans for it later on. So, what are those plans? Well, you'll have to tune in next time. So, like, comment, subscribe. If you like what you see and want me to keep it up, I've been receiving some great feedback, but I welcome all kinds of feedback, positive and negative. So if you have any ideas or something you just want to point out, or just have a comment to drop me a line. I like seeing feedback of all kinds. And you can also drop me a line at Twitter at Pinstar. So until next time, this is Pinstar signing out. See ya.